disseminate the knowledge of the research through seminars, conference, and workshop and interactive actions. This is what we are going to do today. Honor and Mr. Vepa Kamesan, Honorable Chief Guest. Please.
తొలగించు దైవమే గంభీరవదనుడు గజముఖుడు తొలుత విఘ్నములు తొలగించు దైవమే గంభీరవదనుడు గజముఖుడు ప్రమథగనుడై దేవగణములకే పూజ దైవము అయినాడు తొలుత విఘ్నములు తొలగించు దైవమే గంభీరవదనుడు గజముఖుడు ఎల్లలోకాలు నీ కరుణకై తల్లడిల్లి తపించగా ఎల్లలోకాలు నీ కరుణకై తల్లడిల్లి తపించగా తరలివచ్చు తనదు సృష్టిని తరింప వచ్చిన సుందర మూర్తిని కనరారే తొలుత విఘ్నములు తొలగించు దైవమే గంభీరవదనుడు గజముఖుడు కష్టకాలమున నీ చేతి చలువే ఇడుములాబడిన ఎల్ల జనులను బ్రోవా కష్టకాలమున నీ చేతి చలువే ఇడుములాబడిన ఎల్ల జనులను బ్రోవ వందే వందే గురునాయకం వందే వందే ఆదిగణనాయకం వేదనాద జన హృదయ నివాసితం నారదాది ముని బృంద పూజ సేవితం వందే వందే గురునాయకం వందే వందే ఆదిగణనాయకం ఆదిగణనాయకం.
Singapore Foreign Department. He was GM in UK branches of SBI at London, and his regular assignments in domestic banking and very senior positions in the head office. In year 2001, Sri Kamesan was appointed Deputy Governor of RBI, and he was there for 2 years till December 2003. This was seen in currency management during his time, and IT was applied SBI, RBI, and SBI Mauritius, SBI Canada. He has also been on board of Highmark Credit Information Services Private Limited, Mumbai, and MCX Stock Exchange, Bombay. Served as chairman IDR BT Hyderabad till December 2000. He is also honorary visiting faculty at SK, which is Hyderabad. He had very distinguished and checkered career during his services to the Indian finance. May I request Mr. Avipa Kamisi to kindly give his address.
Very good morning to all of you. Professor Mohan, Mr. Gopal Rao, Mr. Rajendra Prasad, Mr. Adani, distinguished speakers today listed today, and invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the Forex Academy Hyderabad for inviting me to inaugurate this one-day program, which has been very thoughtfully structured. This has been a much debated subject in the public domain, which has made our lives extremely printed in a clay-colored security paper with two signatures and all that. And I was told for utilization in United Kingdom only. So that means there was no way I could even use this 100 pounds in Italy during my 7 months of my stay. So that was the situation in which this country went through. Everything was rationed, everything was controlled. Then came the famous rupee devaluation of 1966. And after that, the Reserve Bank and the State Bank always had a very, very close relationship. And post-rupee devaluation to give a great support to exports from this country so that we were desperately in need of foreign exchange. Many schemes were conceived, and that's how the genesis of the NRI deposits goes back to that date. And then also a little later was designed this foreign currency deposits, which was Reserve Bank used to call it FCNR and State Bank used to call it FOCNA, foreign currency non-resident accounts. All these developments came. But thanks to this secret arrangement which we had between the Reserve Bank and the State Bank to support the market, they would buy 4 currencies from all authorized dealers during the day, between morning and evening. Of course, it was all a fixed rate. We had still not come to the floating rate regime. And the dollars, sterling, Deutschmark, and Japanese yen were the 4 currencies. And then the export rate started picking up, and if the banks had surplus positions in which they could not absorb these merchant transactions coming from the market, they could unload it onto the Reserve Bank of India. Much later, that was a time even when the banks had to cover their transactions. You would have to necessarily go through multiple legs of the transaction. The only intervention currency which the Reserve Bank provided to the authorized dealers at that point of time was sterling. And that too, your tender for the sterling had to be placed by about 12 or 12:30 in the afternoon with the deposit accounts department of the Reserve Bank of India, either in Calcutta or Bombay. If you had a large remittance to be made in Deutschmarks, and at that point of time, our trade to Germany was so limited. In fact, we were net importers of capital goods from Germany. So we could never get large DM export bills in the positions of the banks with isolated pockets like Kerala, Punjab, Gujarat, and then of course it went all around the whole country. And when these deposits started coming, they were very attractively priced. Of course, they had a relationship with the interest rates ruling in this country, but there was a substantial premium which the country paid. If the domestic rupee rates were somewhere around 8 or 9%, in 12% through these mechanisms, they were happy. We were happy. We wanted to balance our foreign exchange reserves to be supported. So it was going on like that. And then in the early 80s, these fixed rates of exchange were given at mobile. And then the floating rates of exchange started coming. A little later, Reserve Bank also gave up buying these 4 currencies as a support measure as the volumes grew. From very minuscule volumes of less than $1 million a day, I have seen the volumes picking up in the market to something like $1 billion, and then later on even $5 billion was not uncommon. The very archaic systems which we had to give way. I remember in the trading room of the foreign department, we used to have 20 telephones ringing, and we could hardly find out which broker was calling on which line. And they were not used to these two-way ports. At that time, the Asian dollar market was growing. Hong Kong was already a free market, ahead of the Indian time zone by 3 hours. So we aligned ourselves to the Asian market for early morning ports. For about 2 to 2.5 hours, we could deal in the morning, even before the Indian markets opened at 9 o'clock in the morning.
From 10,000, it went up to 25,000, 25,000 to 50,000, 50,000 to 100, and now the present limit is 200,000. You want to buy a piece of land in Monaco, or you want to go to some place and gamble away in a casino, no questions asked. Just go to your banker. In fact, now today the situation is we are dollar rich and rupee poor. I have no hesitation in saying that. Because if you want to take out 200,000 US dollars from this country, how much money do we need, sir? A crore of rupees. A crore of rupees, how many of us have got liquid cash of crore of rupees to take out of the country every year 200,000? And mind you, this must all be declared number one income, which gets reflected in your income tax statements. And there comes the role of these chartered accountants. A very important and great role of the chartered accountants is there, because they have to certify some of these statements before these repatriations are allowed, that they reflect the true position as appearing in your balance sheets. So a very great responsibility is on the shoulders of the chartered accountant fraternity. And of course, if things go wrong, then of course the adjudication procedures come. But in any case, now imprisonment like FERA and other things are quite far away. Why? How come when such liberalization is done and such benefits are given to the people, every now and then some form of a scam comes out in a different avatar? I think every 5 years, if somebody does a research starting from Harshad Mehta to date, every 5 years there must be a major scam in the Indian economy. And when for the corporates also these doors were, investments were opened for FII and FDIs and portfolio management.